Hey, I'm JC Warbeck.
And I'm Clarissa Scheidel. We
We're
are the founders of Three Putt Golf Co.
As avid golfers, we could never find ladies' golf clothing that was comfortable and stylish.
So we decided to create our own brand that is fashionable, comfortable, and size inclusive up to 3X.
Each three-putt piece is uniquely ours. Check out our collection at threeputtgolfco.ca or visit our socials under Three Putt Golf Co.
And remember, Three Putts build character.
Hello and welcome to the Unexpected Journeys podcast. I'm your host, Stacey Comer, and I have a special guest joining me today. Josh Yakes is here. Josh, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I know you have such a busy schedule.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very grateful for your time.
Josh, you have an incredible life story. We were connected through a mutual friend, Mike Axe, and he was just telling me so much about you. And so I said, I have to see if Josh is willing to come on and talk to me. And he did a post because he's working on a documentary. You guys are trying to get a documentary happening, which we'll get into in a bit. But so his post says, born with a rare vision disorder that is slowly taking his sight, a childhood marked by trauma, addiction, loss, setbacks that would have been enough to make most people quit. Instead, he made a decision that changed everything to conquer all things. So, that's a lot to unpack when you look at
there's a lot
what
there.
So let's start with what's happened with your vision. Can you tell me exactly what the condition is? I guess it's a disorder. And then when were you diagnosed and how has it affected you?
I was diagnosed around 3 or 4. It's a very rare genetic retina disorder called achromatopsia. It basically means it's both my parents had a recessive gene that they didn't know about, and I got super lucky. Yeah. So it's I don't have enough cones to process light in my retina. So severe photophobia, which is just very bad light sensitivity. Color blindness, and then the muscles behind the eyes have always just been weaker. So anytime I look at anything, we're using those muscles to look at stuff. Mind fatigue faster. And it was never an issue until my 20s when I lost my vision suddenly and temporarily, but then it kept happening.
Okay.
Yeah, so it kept happening. It would go from a minute to an hour. It would go very bright white and then black, pitch black, and it was. I was always told I would never lose vision because of achromatopsia my whole life. That was kind of the silver lining. Hey, it's not great, but you have some vision, and it's better than nothing, and you won't lose it. So when I lost it, I essentially had to live my worst fear. Of being blind. I lost my job at a startup after college. I had a 2-year-old daughter that I thought I'd never see grow up. And I had to move out of my apartment and into a dorm room for people losing sight for 6 months. And I had to learn to read braille and use a cane and learn how to live sightless. How to clean, how to cook, how to maneuver a room with a cane, how to use the bathroom. I was shocked that I wasn't going to be able to use the restroom easily. It was very eye-opening that I couldn't find a toilet in a room.
Right.
Yeah. So I I didn't lose vision permanently then. It was found out that the muscles had just been fatiguing more, and I needed to hack kind of my vision, like you would hack a day, and so I had to stop reading books, which was the hardest part. I've been an avid reader since the third grade. My favorite thing is reading books. I haven't read a book in uh, 13 years, which is really hard for me. I don't really watch a ton of TV. I have to limit time on my phone and laptop. And I've been able to do a lot by doing that. And now, unfortunately, the problems are back and worse. My vision loss is coming a lot quicker in light outside, especially. I'm not able to be outdoors very long. And that kind of added pressure of, okay, I'm getting older, vision changes as we get older for anybody. I'm just at a disadvantage visually already, and that's okay. Some vision is better than none. Um, so now the kind of mindset, and luckily I have Mike in my corner, is, what can I leave in the light before everything goes dark? And what can I create that I've been working on for the last 10 to 15 years and leave when I start having substantially harder vision issues?
Is there anything that, and I'm sure you would have tried this if there was a solution, but so there's no surgery, there's nothing at this point that can
No,
do
there's no.
anything for you?
Yeah, no. I would have to like grow cones in my retina, and I'm sure they're doing that somewhere.
Hmm.
They're doing so
Yeah.
much in medical. But as of now, no, nothing that I've heard of or been told by specialists or doctors that I see. Um, my doctor recently, last week, just told me, use your eyes less and work less. And he's known me since I was 8, so he was
Yeah.
joking because all I do is work. um, but yeah, it's just another hurdle, and that's okay. We're just taking it day by day, and while I have the vision I have, I'm just trying to maximize my time.
Watching what you're doing, it's incredible, the amount of, like you said, work. Like, it literally looks like you are always working. And we're going to get into what you're doing now to help people, but I want to start from the beginning again. Some of the posts that I've seen, Josh, indicated that your childhood was probably maybe not the best
Yeah,
growing up. Can you tell me just a little bit about some of the issues that you
yeah,
faced?
totally. Yeah, I was born. My parents were probably together for 2 years before they got divorced. My mom loved to party, and my dad partied, but he stopped and she didn't. I lived with her until I was 5. She had a lot of addiction and alcoholism problems. There's just her and I. And as a little boy, uh, your mom is your world. You want to save and protect her and be loved by her. And my mom was unable to kind of love me because she loved substances more. Um, it led to a lot of people being brought into our home, a lot of strangers that were violent with both of us. Um, and some of the psychological stuff that I deal with in EMDR therapy now, on a weekly basis, is they used to get really violent with her, and she would lay with me after I was like 4 probably, and she'd be bruised and black eyes, and and she would ask me to take her pain away and have me kind of rub her black eyes with my fingers, and I couldn't obviously do anything at 4. um, but I hated myself because I couldn't help her feel better, and that's all I ever wanted, was to save her and help her, not understanding that I was a child, in
Right.
a situation like that. My dad took me, when I was 5, thankfully. And my dad is probably my biggest visual advocate. My mom doesn't totally acknowledge my disability. She knows my eyes are weaker, but
Mhm.
I don't know that she knows what it's called, the disability that I have. She's
Right.
sober now, but my dad, he was my advocate. He pushed me hard. They wanted me in special ed classes. Dad said no. He pushed me very hard forward to play with kids, to play games I can't play, just so that I could play with kids, even if I wasn't good enough. And then on weekends, I would go back to my mom's, and I told my dad nothing about what would happen at my mom's, because if he knew, he would never let me see her, and if I couldn't see her, I couldn't try to save her. And that went on from, before I can remember, until about 13, 14, when she eventually got sober.
With the addiction, Josh, sometimes people who are surrounded by it then get a problem themselves with addiction. Were you able
Yeah.
to avoid that, or is it a trap that you ended up
No,
falling into?
I fell into it for sure. And at first, if I'm being honest, I would see my stepdad and mom use drugs, and I just wanted to know what was more important than me, like what was so much better. And so I started to just mimic what they would do. They weren't paying attention, they were too high at the time, and they were doing everything, any drug you could think of, really. And I would just follow. And I was pretty young. I was 9, 10, 11 years old, just trying drugs and experimenting in a house that didn't have a lot of rules or attention. Um, and then that led to a lot of arrests. I was arrested a lot in middle school. I was on probation twice before I was in high school. I was almost not allowed to go to high school. But I've had, one of my biggest blessings and one of my superpowers is I attract very amazing human beings. I'm very lucky. And even people that I don't know are in my corner. And the vice principal, who I thought hated me in middle school, he kept me out of juvenile hall and got me into the high school I wanted to go to, because he knew that I was a smart kid in a bad situation. Um, I didn't know that till 10 years after, probably. My dad told me way later. He was like, hey, he went to the police department. They were talking with your parole officers. They went to everybody for you. and I just didn't know. But yeah, and then later, unfortunately, in college, I fell into a really bad spiral of drugs. Was expelled from college for drug use. Kind of in a cry for help situation. We had to turn in a midterm in a leadership class at my college. And I went to the room after just having a very bad drug trip in my dorm room. And when they asked me for my, I don't know why I got in line. I think I just needed help. I
Yep.
got in line with nothing to turn in. And so where's your paper? And I was like, I almost just drowned in my dorm room. It filled with beer and I couldn't breathe. I didn't do my paper. And they were like, what are you talking about? And I had just been, hallucinating so badly at the time that they drove me to rehab in Pasadena the next day and kicked me out of the school, told me I would never go back. I did get back in and I did graduate with a bachelor's degree after I got sober. But
Awesome.
yeah, that drug addiction, it's very hard to break when it's the only thing you see at such a young age, unfortunately for some of us.
Josh, you posted, about making all these mistakes and coming through, on the other side because you dealt with a lot, more than most people. What kept you focused during those times, and what was the thing that made things finally turn around and you just said, I can't be like this anymore, and I'm changing the way I do things?
Yeah, with the drug issue and that kind of stuff, and the arrests and all of that, it was always my dad. I never wanted to let him down because he invested so much into me. He was raising a disabled son with a disability that no one had ever heard of. One in 70,000 people have it. I've never met anyone with it in person. I've talked to lots of parents and kids online now, thankfully, around the world who have it. But at the time in the 90s, we didn't know anybody.
Right.
And my dad invested so much in me and sacrificed so much of his life to put into my life that I remember when I went to rehab, I couldn't even tell him I got expelled. It was brutal. It took so much out of me just to tell him I was expelled for drugs, and that it had gotten so bad that I just couldn't control it anymore. And of course, him being my dad, he was there for me in a second. He put his time into me again and his energy and focus. And I had two younger brothers that I always knew were watching me, and I wanted to be a good example for them. So I didn't go to rehab. I talked my way out of checking into rehab, and I stopped doing drugs cold turkey.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I went through withdrawals and I suffered, and I just got it together. I don't I've been in a lot of drug programs. I went to AA, I went to Teen Al Anon, I went to Celebrate Recovery, which is a Christian program. And, a lot of my drug problems don't stem from wanting to do drugs. It really stems just from, wanting to understand, you know, again, like I said, what was more important to me or what was so good that, you'd pick that over a child and it just never understood in my brain. And so, once I kind of realized that and that I was enough and that I had people that mattered, that had my back and that supported and loved me and cared about me, it wasn't that difficult for me to stop. Luckily, it's not always like that. So many
Yep.
stories are so much more challenging, and we all have our own journeys and battles. So, I'm very fortunate in that situation. But I still have to be mindful and careful. Even now, I'm very careful and mindful of what I do, what I'm around, who I'm around, where I go, um, on a daily basis.
Well, Josh, first of all, good for you for coming through all that because that's something that would take down a lot of people. I would say probably the majority of people. And now let's talk about the good things and where you are. So, conquer all things. Tell me
hmm
about everything that is associated with that and what it is that you're doing now.
Yeah, conquer all things is from my favorite quote from Benjamin Franklin: energy and persistence conquer all things. I've heard it when I was in middle school and latched onto it as someone with a disability, thinking, man, my effort and persistency can allow me to do a lot more than I thought it could, even with a disability. And so it's always been on my heart, that quote. Um, I've been in a lot of different businesses and entrepreneurial um, practices for the last 15 years with other people, helping them build companies and open franchises and launch websites. And Conquer is the first thing that is mine fully that I created. It started during the pandemic as a fitness studio. When everything shut down about a year in or so, I wanted to keep working, so I was training people outside in parks in my backyard, trying to help people be healthy, following regulations, all the time. And I opened a studio on my home street, main boulevard in my hometown, and it was 1,500 square feet. We had 2 clients allowed per hour on completely opposite sides of the room, with the back door, barn door open, front door open, vaccinations, masks. I mean, we really followed things down to the T. But most gyms were in parking lots. We were one of the few places that had opened instead of closed in the pandemic. And that was because a client offered me an opportunity. He was very upset and I didn't have my own gym, and I was like, I don't want to own a gym. It sounds really hard. And I just graduated from USC with my master's degree in business, and I was supposed to go into venture capital. I don't love venture capital, so I wasn't sure what to do exactly. But you also learn how to take an idea from a concept to exit, and so that was really fun for me. I really like that side of the program. And so he gave me my first investment, and I opened, and we were in the black in the first under 6 months, and we were making money, and it was great. We were making people healthy, helping them stay healthy in a really confusing time. That was 2 years. And then we came to where we're at currently, where we 5x the gym, so we're 5 times the size. Yeah, we have 40 personal trainers, which is the most that I know of
Wow,
in LA. Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, all my friends that I met along the way that I just want to help and are extensions of me helping other people. And we have classes, memberships. We're the only 24-hour private gym in Burbank, and I'm very proud of what we've accomplished in 2 years here and the amount of people we've been able to help. And now I'm just trying to create outside of the walls that we have here, which was the original plan 15 years ago when I launched Conquer as a concept. I'm going back to kind of those roots and how can this exist outside of these walls and help more people around the world than just in this gym. And that's kind of where Mike has been coming in to help me take my ideas to the next level, which has been great. And other people around me, we might launch a supplement line, which is great. I used to own a supplement store franchise called NutriShop. It's nice to get back into that space. And then a documentary is possibly coming. Oh, and the podcast too. Conquer Podcast.
Because you don't have enough, right?
Yeah, while I have vision, I like to utilize it.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I keep hearing you say is that you want to help people. Why is it that you want to keep helping people, not only to be healthy, but, it sounds like you've helped your friends, you've got them working for you in the gym. And is it, obviously it's a rewarding thing when you can help somebody, but why you could, with everything that's going on, you could just, basically sit back and kind of be one of those people that, potes in the corner. But why is it important for you to continue helping people?
My mission as an entrepreneur, I think they're always very broad and huge and grandiose missions because it gives us something big to work towards. And I write mine down. I have it on my wall in my office so I can stare at it. It's, my mission is to heal 1 million hearts, foster 1 million minds, and change 1 million lives. And I want to do that because I would be nothing without the people that helped me over my life. With my disability, with my childhood, with a lot of the circumstances that I've been through, the thing that has gotten me through it is people pouring into me and helping me heal. I've needed to heal for a very long time, even before I knew that I did. People like my dad or my business partners, my close friends, my wife, they've poured so much into me, and now my mission is to pour into as many people as possible. I want to help anyone who wants to be helped, anyone who wants to be seen. I know what it's like to be looked past because of my vision. In the fitness space, when I started here, I was very skinny. I'm a bodybuilder now, but I was probably 130 pounds soaking wet if I was lucky. I walk around at 205 now and compete in
Holy.
bodybuilding shows. Yeah, but no one wanted to help me in my fitness journey at that time. I couldn't even get a free session from a trainer if I begged for one. They just saw a disabled skinny kid. And so for me, I help anybody. If you want help in your fitness journey or your health journey, this place, Conquer, you are welcome here. We have people from all walks of life, and now it's just expanding outside of here. I love helping people who have disabilities. It's one of my passions because I have one. Helping people feel strong when they were made to feel weak as kids is a very big spot for me. Um, so yeah, just building a community and letting as many people in it to grow and feel strength from that community is my main focus with Conquer as it continues to grow and evolve.
You talked about the documentary, Josh. Is this something that you are doing on your own? Do you have a production company? Are you crowdsourcing? How is it coming together?
We are going to crowdsource and self-fund with our community. We're going to show, proof in action, and our community, I think, is going to come behind us and do this. We're going to show what Conquer means to other people. It will be my backstory to show what all things means, because I have been through all things. But it's really to pull other people's stories in and to really highlight and focus on the community as we grow. We have a director, we have a team. Luckily, we're in Burbank, California, which is the media capital of the world.
Yeah, perfect place for it.
Perfect place for it. Yeah, perfect place to be. And yeah, we're just gonna kind of make this happen. And I'm nervous. I've had a lot of businesses and investors and companies. I've never had to do a film before, but I'm always recruiting people smarter than me to help me with their powers and skill sets. And so we're going to start looking for funding, I think, at the end of the month, and just see how it goes. All the pitch decks are being made and everything's getting done. I'll start going and talking to people. And yeah, we're hoping to make this 30 to 40-minute documentary short on Conquer, following my journey as I'm losing vision and what I'm trying to leave in the light, as I help other people with their stories. And yeah, we're going to get that going. So I'm kind of nervous about it.
Well, I think that just judging by everything we've talked about today, you probably have all the elements needed to make it a success. So
Thank
pretty
you.
sure, yeah, it's going to come to fruition for sure. Josh, you talked about the number of people who, even when you were trying to get help from a trainer, a free session, and people were looking the other way. There are unfortunately so many people who are in that situation now and feel that they don't know where they can go, or they're getting turned away because they have a disability or for whatever reason. So what advice can you give to these people, or even if they hear your story and are inspired, what can you tell them based on what you've been through about how they can try and either, get some help or get the attention they need and not give up?
Totally. The first thing I tell everybody, from clients to friends, family, people I meet on the streets, you are so much stronger and more capable than you realize. I promise you. Even when you're not feeling it and you can't quite see it, the things that you have been through and the journey that you have been on, whatever it is for you, has prepared you to conquer all things. You have everything you need inside you to do anything. You might just need some help and some guidance. And there are amazing people out there. There are a lot of not great people, but that's the negative side. We don't want to focus on that. There are amazing people that look to help people for no other reason but to help them. Anyone can DM me. My phone's numbers all over the internet. I get texts and calls, emails. I'll talk to anybody at any time. I talk to parents of kids with disabilities all around the world. It's been a blessing to me because I always wanted to do that. When I was a kid, man, I just love to talk to someone. So I'm always available. My team is always available for anybody. And yeah, just know that whatever you're looking to conquer, whatever you've endured, you can conquer. It just takes a little bit of help, and it's okay to look for and ask for help.
With everything that you've done, I would imagine there's a lot of people who are probably already just standing in line willing to help you out as well. And if somebody is listening and they think, hey, we'd love to help with the documentary, or, we want to somehow get involved with the training that you do, or whatever the case is, What is the best way for people to just, find you and talk about whatever option that they would like to discuss with you?
Yeah, you can go to our website, conquerallthings.com, and email me. I am the one that answers all emails. It's still me.
Still haven't farmed that out, eh?
One day it will be someone else. You can go to at joshua.yakes on Instagram and DM me. I reply to all DMs. It's me. Or Conquer All Things on Instagram or TikTok. And if it's not me, someone will get you to me. My phone number and email are all over the internet. I'm very easy and accessible to get in touch with.
Josh, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. I thank you so much for chatting with me. Your story is just so inspirational, and I know there's so much that everybody can take away from this. So I wish you so much success. And, once the documentary comes out and everything's ready to go, I would love to chat with you again and just see where you're at.
I would love that. Thank you so much for bringing me on your platform and for everything you're doing and spreading people's stories. Someone needs to hear something you have to say. Someone told me that once, and I hold on to that. And being able to have someone like you allow people to share their stories that can change someone's life is truly powerful and beautiful. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Josh. I know we'll be hearing much, much more from you.
Thanks, Stacey.
Unexpected Journeys is produced and hosted by me, Stacey Comer. Executive producer is Sean Lannon. Podcast and host representation is Lemon Entertainment. Thank you to our episode sponsor, 3Putt Golf Co. You can find us on all social media and podcast sites under the name Unexpected Journeys. Please like and subscribe wherever you're listening to us. We appreciate any and all feedback, and if you are interested in being a guest on the Unexpected Journeys podcast, you can email us at unexpectedjourneyspod@gmail.com. For sponsorship inquiries, send a message to jessica@lemonent.com. That's lemon with 2 M's. Thank you so much for listening.